Good morning. Welcome to Gimpy's History Corner, called Gimpy by my two grandsons, Alice and Archie, who are near the NBC studios of Radio City Music Hall in New York City. This is video number 77, and it's the construction and remodeling of the White House. Taking a news item and doing some research on when it was built and what has been done to it over the years. The initial construction of the White House, which is the president's residence, started in 1792 and ended in 1800. The site selection was made by George Washington, who chose the site in 1791. Of course, Washington itself was created as a compromise between Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton in the initial arguments over what the government would be back in the early days. And there's a famous painting of George Washington at the laying of the cornerstone of the White House, with George Washington wearing Masonic stuff, clothing, whatever that's called, around their waist. Always created some mystery with the Masons involved. The architect chosen was Irish-born James Hoban, who won a competition with a neoclassical architectural plan. The cornerstone was actually laid on October 13th, 1792, and it took 8 years of slave labor, mostly, to get the building constructed. John Adams moved in 1800, even though the building was not totally finished. And in 1812, famously, the British moved into Washington, D.C. and set fire to the White House. So, barely 12 years after moving in, James Madison was president at that time. Dolly Madison famously saved paintings of George Washington from the British burning. The architect Hoban was then commissioned again to rebuild for the original design. So that's how the white part of the house got started, because they had all these blackened fire areas to cover up, so they put a lot of white paint on it. Additions over the years, which were all publicly funded through Congress and the government agencies that are concerned with such things. The south portico, which is like a porch with pillars, James Monroe, 1824. The north portico, Andrew Jackson, 1829. The west wing, the famous west wing from the TV show, Theodore Roosevelt, 1902. And the Oval Office, which is very famous, William Howard Taft, in 1909. And the East Wing, which is what the current issue is about, was added during World War II by Franklin Delano Roosevelt to house wartime staff. World War II. The major renovation was during Harry Truman's administration, 1948 to 1952, and there were structural issues with the wood framing inside the White House, led to a complete gutting of the interior and rebuilt with steel framing, make it much stronger. And that was publicly funded as well. All right, more modern times, interim restoration. Jackie Kennedy, under President Kennedy's administration. Jackie was the first lady. did interior renovations, and that was mostly privately donated funds used that. Ronald Reagan refurbished the Oval Office using public and private funds. And can't read my writing. Some kind of upgrades by Clinton and Bush. And those were publicly funded. Then modern IT and energy upgrades were also publicly funded. So they all were publicly funded except the part of the Kennedys in the 1960s, which was decorations mostly by Jackie Kennedy. And of course, Kennedy was a wealthy man like Trump, and he had access to wealthy people like Trump does. Routine maintenance and structural repairs are funded through Congress and the federal budget. The controversy is that Trump is taking donations of $300 million for the expansion of the East Wing ballroom, or creating a ballroom. I'm not really sure. It's privately funded, $300 million. Oversight and approval. Even if privately funded, projects often require coordination with agencies like the National Park Service and the Commission of Fine Arts. Renovation must comply with preservation standards for historical sites, and Trump has not consulted any of those. All previous presidents consulted these agencies, so Trump, like he always does, he just does what he wants. He doesn't care about precedent or history. He just says, I want a new East Wing. Get some of my millionaire buddies and get some money, and we'll just do it, not consult anybody, because I'm the king. I don't really care what they do with the White House, to tell you the truth. It's just that, there's ways to get things done in Washington, D.C., and Trump just does what he wants. Really sad. Our country's come to this. Okay, so the White House, I've been there several times. Rounding up all my pictures, and I know I had one taken with it was a lot of principles, but that's me standing in my younger days on one of the porticos with the pillars behind me. I was there with a lot of other school principals, and I know they took a picture of us all on the steps there, but I don't know what's happened to that picture, so that was a long time ago. So I walked around the White House with the fence at night. Didn't run into a whole bunch of Secret Service. This was around 2000, the year 2000. So it was before 9/11. And been through the tour. I can't remember. They didn't take us upstairs. It was all first floor tour. And took us into a ceremonial room, and we thought, oh, we're going to get to hear President Clinton talk. Nah, he never showed up. If he was there, he was in a different part of the White House. We didn't see Hillary or Bill or any official. The closest I came was Secretary of Education, but he wasn't at the White House, so we saw him. Okay, so it's been around a long time. A lot of presidents have come and gone. They say there's ghosts of Abraham Lincoln wandering around. I don't know. I didn't see him there when we toured it. But Trump's, he does what he wants, and he's causing a ruckus. And I don't know what's he going to do with a big ballroom. Probably have wrestling or something. Some stupid thing like that. He just does weird stuff. Okay, that's my first video of today. White House construction and renovation. Have a great day.